Congratulations on the film. What is freegan? Because it's a lifestyle that you led for a little while, which inspired this, right?
Yeah, it was actually many summers ago before I started acting, before Zal started directing. We were just two broke people out of college looking for adventure, and also interested in what other young people were feeling and thinking. And the freegan movement is basically, I don't know how to best put it. I guess the idea is to live sort of off the grid of capitalism, to live for free, and to see how you can turn this society's waste into abundance. So there's a lot of train hopping and, foraging for food and scavenging things out of dumpsters and making use of all the things that this culture throws away, basically.
And apart from the idea for this film, what did you take away from that experience?
Oh, I think mostly how important people are, that we need each other, and that one of the real sadnesses of our time is that sort of the ambitious individual, pursuit of success makes people really lonely and isolated. And one of the great things about all the groups we spent time with was their sense of community and tribe, and they felt a real sense of meaning every day when they woke up about their lives and each other and providing for each other. And so I think that's one of the reasons actually why we were both attracted to filmmaking, is because it similarly requires a collective. You need people to make a movie. You can't do it on your own.
And Ellen, you studied something called permaculture and met someone who was involved in freeganism, right?
Oh yeah, lots of people.
Yeah.
So I studied permaculture design and eco-village development at a place called Lost Valley in Oregon. And so a lot of similar philosophy, and met people who were, yes, absolutely strictly freegan.
And did that experience, when you got the script, did that experience come echoing back to you?
Yeah, because on top of it just being obviously an incredibly beautifully written piece of work, it was so many ideas that I was very excited about and thinking about. And their experience and the experience I had, we were able to, talk about it and relate in sort of what that does to you as a person when you've sort of been raised with this narrative that we have that's given to us by, the system that exists and the infrastructure that we've inherited. And then you go experience something that just completely flips everything on its head. And that's like a wild ride to go on, and then to walk back out into the world and into society and just be like, you see things differently, and it's intense.
Well, I have a quote here from you from an interview that you did. I know, people always hate this, but you say something about knowing and being aware of how my existence suppresses a lot in the world. I know that, and I don't like that it happens. Do you still feel that way?
Yeah, every morning when I wake up and open my eyes, I'm sort of unwillingly oppressing a lot of people and the environment to live in the privilege that I have, that we all have, living in the area of the world. Not that everyone in this area of the world experiences that. And that's a hard thing. And I think that's a thing that a lot of people are dealing with right now. And it's hard to know, does running away to the woods and becoming a freegan, is that the best choice? Or do we stay in the infrastructure that we've inherited and sort of kind of do our best to create positive change? But I don't necessarily know the answer, maybe I'm just being like a selfish jerk, It could be the truth, so who knows?
But the film, it's hard to talk about it without giving things away. That it's a thriller, it's a bit of a puzzle, and I don't want to give anything away. But is there kind of an ethically kind of slippery moral ground, because the group that you infiltrate are eco-terrorists, and yet they are in a lot of ways the heroes of the piece. And so how do you feel about that? Let's talk about that with me if you
Well,
can.
it's interesting that you describe them as heroes. Some people would say that Patty Clarkson, who's the head of the corporate astronaut firm, is the hero. So I think we tried in the writing and the telling of it, all of us, to make a story that was neutral, that sort of looks at the corporate space and looks at the anarchist space and says, okay, there are good and bad ideas and good and bad people in both. And so we as writers and actors and filmmakers are not coming down on one side or the other. And in fact, Sarah's journey as this ex-FBI corporate spy,
Sarah being your
character who's going to infiltrate this group of eco-terrorists, she is us. She's straddling both sides, and I think that's something that we're all feeling. I don't think that's even just a generational thing. I think everybody feels a bit like they're straddling things that they feel and that they sense, and then also their responsibilities, and she has to make difficult choices in the end about what kind of person she wants to be ultimately, which I think is the choice that we're all making right now.
Well, I think it's interesting because this movie does hit on a lot of real hot button kind of issues, and I think just given the proximity, I saw it very recently, and I've been thinking a lot about the vigilante aspect of it, and I've been thinking about it in terms of Anonymous, who have been in the news a great deal lately in regards to Rehtaeh Parsons.
Yeah.
And I'm not exactly sure how I feel about it, because on one hand, I like the idea that they can uncover information that perhaps you can't get any other way, legally, I guess. But on the other hand, they're breaking the law to get information, and what if they're wrong?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I fall somewhere in the middle of it.
And they were wrong in the first place not to press charges.
It's true. No, it's true.
You know what I mean? And that was the fault of an established group that is there to protect people. And you have this young girl who allegedly experienced a beautiful crime, and then pictures were, and now it's like, I've not read a story that's that sad in a long. I mean, that is just horrible.
Yeah.
And I get it, but like a lot of the time, it's the infrastructure that's already in place that's insane and wrong, and that's where
a lot of really bad things have been legal in this country.
It's true.
So it's a complicated. I know exactly what you're saying, and certainly groups like Anonymous, and it's kind of exciting, this idea that the internet and hacktivism is like providing a way for, I don't know, for the sort of David to rebel against the Goliath and to actually get ideas out there.
Yeah, it's like this recent, like they're trying to ban people from being able to go into factory farms and film the abuses that are happening, and they're trying to ban that practice. And I mean, the abuses that are happening in there that are legal, that are legal things, like
those should be illegal.
That should be illegal.
Yeah, not the filming
and
of
that's
them.
when it's hard, because like there's this like false symmetry that's created that I don't think's fair, because just the power that exists on the established corporate industrial side that is not, you're like a little, not even a speck compared to that. And sometimes there's these means that
Well, it does feel like the Wild West.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Which is exciting.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be alive in that time.